All right, tent's been delivered. I don't see any damages to the box, and man, they pack it good and solid too. All right, supplies are here. It's lawn mowing season, it's camping season, sunshine, flowers on the trees. That means it's time to get outdoors, get out of this garage and get into the backcountry. I got some gear here. I got a tent and some bars to put on the bed of the truck, so I can get this truck Overlander, truck camping friendly, so that we can get out and have some fun in the backcountry. We can use this as a base camp, and then we can backpack in, or we can just stay at the truck. We'll have some options either way. We're excited for this season. It looks like it's going to be a great season. We got lots of trips planned, backpacking, fishing, truck camping, otherwise, so got to get the truck ready to do that. Here we go. So this is from Bama Car. Got this on Amazon for a pretty good price. It had really good ratings, so looked like it'll fit our needs and this truck just fine. So we're excited to check it out. And it's packaged like Fort Knox. I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to get in that thing. But all right, after a good 5 minutes of peeling up tabs to get into this thing, it looks like I finally jailbroke this thing and get into it now. So we're getting the first look at it to see what it looks like here. All right, here we go. Wait for it. Ooh. Okay, looks like they pack it in there pretty good. Put foam all the way around it. Check for any damage before I pull it out. All right, well, there's the tent. I took the foam protector that was on top and I put it on top of the truck just to see how big it would be on the truck, and you know, basically extending most of the way to the cab. It looks to me like it's going to be hanging off about 8 inches or so, and then width-wise, it looks like it'll be a little bit narrower than the truck. All right, so Bama Car is the brand of this tent. NATURNEST is the model of tent that we selected for this. All right, so it opens on this end. The bracket and hooks like that. Do that on both of them. It looks like it locks as well. It's got a place to put a lock in there. You can lock it down when you're not in there. Okay, here we go. Ooh, look at that. All right, what do we got in here? Looks like we got some mounting hardware and some tent awning push-ups and a ladder. Sweet. All right, let's dig into this. All right, inside looks like we got 2 storage totes that hang on the outside of the tent. Put your shoes in and stuff on the outside of the tent. There's a bag to hold the ladder that's adjustable to the height. And then you got some brackets there, owner's manual, some flex bars to hold the awning out on the tent. And then these are the 2 mounting bars that go on top of the tent so you can mount solar panels and other things. All right, and after a little more digging, we found a little bag with the mounting brackets so we can mount it to the billy bars. All right, while it's down on the ground for easy access, I want to install the 2 bars that go on top of the roof tent so I can reach them easy. All right, so there's one of the 2 bars that comes with it that you mount on top of the tent so you can mount other storage on top of the tent. And there's these brackets that come with it, and they're shaped like the size and edge of that tent with a rise on them to lift the bar above, and they sit on there just like that. And then there's mounting hardware to bolt it into that groove on the side there, and then through the top of that bracket into the rail. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to I'm going to mount these brackets on the bars first, and then I'll set the bars on here and then tighten them from the side. Okay, so these are end caps that finish off the end of these bars to give them a finished look. Put those on. And just snap in or push in. Alright, so on the hardware here we got the long screws. They go through the bar and down into the bracket. And then from there, there's a lock nut. Lock nut goes on there to secure it. And I need to do that 2 per end per bar. So I'll do that real quick. Okay, so I've got these big fat screws with the Loctite on the threads there for this part. So the big square nut goes through that groove right there, like so. And then this big nut goes through this bracket and through that nut. And we'll leave it loose so we can slide it into there. We'll do that on all of them. Okay, now I got these pre-assembled and loosely fitting. I slide these into the groove here, sliding the nut into that slot there. And see how this has got to be really loose in order, almost falling off like that one, to even get it to go into the slot. That's kind of clunky, but that's what you got to do to get it in there. Alright, we slid those in. I slid the other one in as far as it would go before it hit that piston hinge there. Alright, we got the brackets mounted on, all the bolts and screws tightened down. We're ready to lift it up onto the truck. Got this rooftop tent up on the rack. I just got to figure out how to install it, clamp it to the rails. I can see there's a bag of accessories here. Instructions are not real clear, but hopefully it's pretty self-explanatory. A lot of the instructions in the booklet are pictures, no words, so kind of filter through that and look at what makes sense and trial and error this thing to the finish line. Alright, here's a quick look at the installation manual. Got a little bit of instructions there in the beginning, but then the rest of this is just diagrams and pictures. They don't really say what to do, just follow along to the pictures. And then on the bracket here, there's a little diagram on the bracket to clamp it to the rail, but they don't really discuss what the bolts are or the plates or anything like that. So they kind of show another picture of something there that doesn't really match up with what I'm seeing right here, but should be able to figure it out. So there's this bag of brackets and stuff there. Let's dump it out and see what we got to work with here. We've got a wrench, some plates, and some bolts. So it looks like maybe, depending on the width of your rail, you will determine the hole that you use for your carriage bolt. All right, now for the brackets. Let's see. So that's the bracket they gave us. This is the bar that I have. We need to know what bolt holes to use. So if that bracket's sitting on that billy bar right there, I'm going to use the outer two most holes there. All right, I'm going to get these prepped. I'll slide those in there just like that. Slide them in the rail and get those where I need to go. But before I actually bolt this thing down to the rails, I want to make sure that I'm good left to right or front to back. All right, there's my bracket with the bolts in it. I'm going to slide it in the rail here. And I got to lift up the tent and get that good to where I need it. Set that down. Good to go. So I need to do some measuring and maybe pull out the ladder and see how that's going to hook on. I think it looks like it's probably going to hook on here or on the sides, but I might have a problem with this side over here because I'm not on a high truck rack. I'm actually on a low one here, so you know the angle of the ladder will probably hit the truck there. So it looks like instead of having side access on this tent, I need to have the end access only, or I need to shift the rooftop tent to the edge so that I can have side and rear, but I'm not so sure that I want this thing off center either, so I don't know. We'll take a look at it and see what we got to work with. Alright, let's take a look at this ladder. So this ladder comes in this nice carrying bag, and all of this fit inside the tent when it was closed up inside the box. So all of these accessories and ladders and bars and all this kind of stuff and pockets, they'll all fit inside the tent, so you don't have to store them elsewhere in your vehicle. But anyway, let's take a look at this ladder, see what we got to work with here. Okay, so it's got the hooks. The hook on the island there. It looks like it's clamped shut while it's telescoped down. Looks like that bottom piece stays on that. Oh, I see. So yeah, you just hook it on. Get it to the length you need it. With the tailgate not in the way, you get it where you want it height-wise. Looks like that holds out pretty good. And there's a whole bunch of do's and don'ts and warning signs on there. Alright, this tent also comes with these storage bags. You can put dirty shoes in or whatever on the outside of the tent. And there's a little aluminum tube here for this to slide through. And that's how it hangs on the tent. So you just get those where they need to go. Let's try this side. There we go. So yeah, those just slide in there like so. So yeah, those just hang on the outside of the tent as a storage bag. Looks like you got a mesh pocket, a couple of smaller pockets, and then the big pocket. And straps to where you can close it up. And then there's a his and a hers. Alright, I took a look at this. I decided I want to have it uniform and centered on the rack. So I need to make a mark, but I need to know where to make the mark. So first off, I need to measure the total length of the bar. On this one we are 72 1/4. I need to deduct it from the rails here, which is 29 1/4. So 72 1/4 from 29 1/4 is 43 inches. So then I'm going to take that 43 inches, which is this side and that side remaining. We're going to cut that in half so I can measure in both sides. So 43, half of 43 is 21 1/2. So basically I need to come in here 21 1/2 inches. Oh my goodness, it's pretty close to that already. 21 1/2 inches, make a mark. That's where this rail is going to be. It should be the same on both sides once I make the mark. Well, alright, now that that's marked, that's where these rails are going to be on this back billy bar support. I'm going to have to redo the measurement on the front one in the same fashion, but it's a different length. That front billy bar is wider and longer as it gets closer to the cab, so I need to redo my measurement. Same math as before. We love math. Anyway, I'm going to get that math problem done and get that front one marked, and then I'll decide where we need to be front to back before I actually clamp things down. Alright, so I got it left to right where I want it. Now I got to decide how close I want to get it to this window and stay in my comfort zone. Right now it's about 4 inches away from the window, and when this top cover hinges up like that. I just want to make sure that this rooftop tent upper roof will not contact the cab in the up position. So just to be sure, I think I'm going to go ahead and shut the garage door and then raise the tent and make sure that I'm clear here before I bolt everything down. Alright, so I went ahead and opened the rooftop tent, and it looks like, you know, at the hinge here it did come a little bit closer, but still got plenty of clearance there. So I'm a good three inches from the window. I feel pretty good with that. It almost hits the ceiling of the garage. That's crazy. Okay, so anyway, I think I'm good with that height and that distance to the front of the cab and the distance from side to side. I'm going to go ahead and get these clamped down. I'm going to, for future reference, I'm going to take a measurement here and measure 9 1/4 inches. So next time I go to put this tent on, I can just measure 9 1/4 and know I'll be in the right spot. Because this tent's not going to stay on all the time. I'm going to remove it when we're not using it. We've got the bottom bracket here. It just slides right on the bolts. And then get this lock washer. Well, not a washer, but a lock nut. Both sides. Alright. I think I want that bracket kind of centered so it's not rubbing on the bar on either side of the bolts. Had a gap between the bolt and the bar there that was similar to the gap there. Because I don't want the bolt to rub on the rail on either side. So I got those all centered. I got them all finger tight. Put 0 over there and ready to tighten them all down. They provided this little ratchet wrench. It's got our little ratchet inside, so make it easy to tighten down. And I want to uniformly tighten these, so I would go, you know, 2 or 3 cranks on each side, 2 or 3 cranks on each side, whatever it takes. But I want to do a uniform amount of turns on the nut per side. Alright, so I tightened each side down, equal amount of turns, and I got it to where this clamp was just barely starting to bend. And check to make sure they're evenly tightened, as you want to make sure you have the same amount of thread showing on each of those. Anyway, that's tight enough. I had to crank on it pretty hard to get it to there, so I feel pretty good about the tightness of that. Alright, we need to get this put down so I can get out of the garage. So they provide you with this strap right here so you can pull down on it. Once I get it out in the garage, I'll put it back up so we can get another look inside. Alright, so this tent is equipped with some power plugs inside, USB ports and such. And this is the port where you would connect your power to. Even though it doesn't talk about it in the manual there, they did provide the other adapter to connect to right there. It gives you the plus and minus. It gives you the prongs that you can connect your wires to stick inside this adapter there, and then they give you little wire holders here that you can run your wires through to hold them. It has a 2-sided tape. But all this electrical stuff is for another day in order to get it connected to power. So I put all my excess parts in this bag here, a couple extra bolts. The wiring stuff I'll keep in this bag. I'll keep it inside the tent for when I'm ready to use those. Alright, well there it is. All mounted and ready to take a look inside. Alright, let's pop this open and take a look. Nice. Alright, that's the side view. I got to pull this strap down here and put the awning bars on. Alright, well, let's get up there so I can get some access to it. Let's drop the tailgate. Let's climb up in there. Gonna pull this strap down out of the way and get this awning pulled out. Alright, first look at the awning here. You put that bar in those two holes, and then you flex it and stick it in that hole there, and you do that on both sides for the awnings. Looks like there is a screen door and a waterproof door on both sides. Alright, there's some storage compartments there, storage compartments on either side. Nice nice mattress and a liner underneath for condensation. Yeah, I think this will work. It looks like that zips all the way around, so it looks like you can completely pull down the walls 100%. That's pretty cool. I don't know why you'd want to do that unless you just wanted shade, but anyway, in this corner here, looks like you got your USB ports. There's your switch. There's a LED lighting that goes around the perimeter, but you gotta have power to run those. Looks like we got cigarette lighter port and 2 of those. And then looking at the little things, there's just this little hook. I've got several of them along. You can hang stuff on. There's another one there, another there. So that's pretty cool. Alright, there's a plug in there for the LED lighting that they have run along there, so you have some light inside the tent. You just got to run that USB cord down to these ports down here. Alright, I ran that wire down just to test it out, and I secured it to that eyelet there. Plugged it into a battery bank here I can turn on. And then there's a switch to turn the light on and off. Alright, now we can zip up the screen. Keep the bugs out. Plus the walls are blackout walls, so you can take a nap in the daytime in the dark. That's pretty cool. Let's test all these zippers out, make sure they work. Yeah, this looks good. Oh, so they have an inner and outer zipper on each of those. That's pretty cool. And then up here they got the little straps here to hold your awnings up, or your door up. Oh, there it goes. Alright, well, I'm going to roll those back up the way they were so I can get in and out of this. I'm going to put the ladder up and check it out. Alright, well, there it is, all set up. I left the tailgate down just to see what the ladder would do, and it looks like the ladder will work fine there. This tailgate will support the ladder and your weight. And that'll be fine. That way you can keep your tailgate open and still get in and out of the tent. Alright, got it all installed, mounted and everything. It's ready to go give it a test run out in the mountains somewhere. We're going to check the weather and make sure we're good on weather, and we're probably going to head out and give it a field test right now because it's road ready.